Blessed be everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're talking about the Magick of Sage. But before we dive into the topic, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, author of Crafting Your Wiccan Path. And if you want to do just that, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. And if you want to buy the book Crafting Your Wiccan Path so that you can connect to nature, spirit and magic using the practices of witchcraft, the link is in the description field below this video. Sage is a healing herb that's been used throughout the Northern Hemisphere, throughout history, for culinary dishes, for medicinal purposes, and also for magical purposes. It's naturally found in the Mediterranean region. It's found in the British Isles, southern Europe, North Africa, North America, Near East, and the Caucasus. So it's quite prolific in the Northern Hemisphere region. It does tend to like a drier climate, but it's not just isolated to one area or one culture. It's been used throughout the Northern Hemisphere throughout time. And one of the reasons why sage is used so much in magic for traditionally purifying, consecrating, protection is because medicinally it is a herb of purification. So when you are using sage from a medicinal point of view, and now I'm not a naturopath or a herbalist, so I can't give you any medicinal advice, but just looking at the correspondences, because it is an astringent, because it is antibacterial, you're looking at those qualities of purifying, healing, and consecration. So see the connections between the medicinal uses of a herb and then the magical, because the magical aspects of the herb often come from the connection to its medicinal properties. And if you don't have sage, don't panic. You can use other herbs as a replacement for sage when it comes to those particular properties. Rosemary is a really good substitute for sage because it has very similar properties medicinally and also from a magical point of view. It is about purification as well, cleansing. It's an astringent, it's antibacterial, and you can use rosemary, of course, for healing. One of the other things that is particularly historically linked to sage, as well as prosperity and money, the same as rosemary is linked to prosperity and money. The difference is that rosemary also has a bit of a connection to love magic there as well, but in a more sort of pure form because of its purification aspects, whereas sage doesn't have that so much. So if you want to work with sage, or any herb really, and you're wanting to cleanse and consecrate, or you're wanting to bring the energy of healing to yourself and to another person, there's a number of different ways that you can do that. If you're focusing on healing yourself more from an emotional point of view, so if you're looking at doing shadow work, for example, and you're wanting to do some release work and heal old wounds and traumas, you can use sage in a cleansing aspect. So that may be anointing a candle with sage oil. It might mean that you're using sage incense. You may even cover yourself with the incense to purify yourself and to energetically resonate and vibrate, entangle yourself, and then using the quantum terminology, with the vibration of the sage and its energy. So that's what you're doing. If you're what's called smoking yourself, or seining yourself, or basically bathing yourself in the smoke of incense, you are entangling your energy with the energy of the plant that you're bathing yourself in. So energetically, you're becoming entangled. And that's where the purification can happen, because if your intent with doing that is to purify some aspect of yourself, or whether that's physically, whether that's emotional, or psychological or spiritual, you're entangling yourself with that energy of purification, that energy of healing and consecration. There's an element of protection there as well with sage, but really it's more about cleansing and purifying than it is about protecting. So that's how you can use it in regards to incense. You can also strain an infusion of sage. So if you've made up like a sage tea, but in bulk, and then let it sit overnight, and then the next day strain it and then put that sage infusion into a bucket of water. You can use that as a floor wash to purify and cleanse your home environment energetically. You can put it in a spray bottle, spray your home, spray yourself. You can even put some of that water in a bath and have a purification or cleansing bath before a ritual, or just to have that sense of purification and cleansing. If you feel perhaps you've been in an environment, maybe a work environment or a toxic environment, then you can do yourself up a sage bath with those herbs. Again, if you don't have sage, because it's not as easy to grow as rosemary, use rosemary. Rosemary is one of the easiest herbs to grow and to work with. If I can grow rosemary in my garden, which is not facing a very good aspect for growing things. Being in the southern hemisphere, it faces south. My courtyard faces south, so it doesn't get a lot of sun in winter. Very hard to grow things. So rosemary grows really well. So it's really, really hardy. So you can use rosemary and substitute to sage is basically what I'm saying. Sage is also, if you're looking at the connection to deities, sage is connected to Jupiter. So Jupiter is about expansion. Jupiter is often linked to prosperity. Sage is also linked to Mars as well, or Aries. So you've got that warrior aspect of energy to sage as well. And it's also, of course, linked to Zeus, who is connected to, who's the Greek connection to Jupiter. So those energies, so Jupiter energies and Mars energies are part of the sage herb as well, and it corresponds to the earth element as well. So if you're wanting to work with the elements, sage might be a nice scent to have in your oil diffuser or to use as an incense if you're focusing in on the earth element. So there's some of the ways that you can use sage in your day-to-day life and in your magical life, and you can do this with any of your herbs. Bring more of them into your life every day to learn about them and to experience how they work for you, because these herbs belong to the earth. They don't belong to any particular region of the world or culture or anything. They belong to the earth. And we learn how to use them through experience of using them. What one culture may use them for, another culture may use them for something slightly different. It's really about what works for you. So experiment with the herbs yourself and find what works for you, how they affect you. Some herbs will resonate more with you than other herbs. Some herbs you may not even be able to work with because you just don't resonate with their energy. Other herbs you may find are favourites that you'll always go to. And if you want to study Wicca with me, if you want to make that decision to bring Wicca into your life so that you can navigate your way in a more connected way through this unknown terrain that we're all walking through right now with everything that's going on, and you want to be in a community of like-minded people, do have a look at the Mystery Witch School 101. We talk about herbs, we talk about magic, and we bring all of this into our daily life. So the link to that is in the description field below this video. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. Blessed be.